The Toronto Film Festival, a mammoth extravaganza, is now underway. Nearly 400 movies will be shown over the next 10 days. The opening night film, a remake of the classic western The Magnificent Seven, starring Denzel Washington, Chris Pratt, Ethan Hawke and Peter Sarsgaard. It's a remake of the John Sturges 1960 film, itself inspired by Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai. Among critics, there is some frustration that Toronto is opening with a remake.
It's often the case that the festival premieres very commercial films in the opening night slot. And it just seems like because there are more remakes and reboots being made than ever now, people are becoming even more angry about it. Because there's not much to balance it out. There are less and less original films being made, so the more you see remakes and reboots, the more you get that sense that Hollywood is run out of ideas.
To some extent, Toronto's films can be categorized according to themes. There is a whole slew of reality-based films, from a portrayal of the Deepwater Horizon oil spill disaster in the Gulf of Mexico to a dramatization of the actions of former NSA intelligence leaker Edward Snowden in a film made by Oliver Stone. Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays Snowden and met him in person to get his portrayal right.
I personally sat with Edward Snowden in Moscow for about 4 hours and just tried to kind of get a sense of who he was, you know, how he sits, how he eats, how he talks. These are the things that, you know, as an actor, I was trying to learn from him, and it was really informative that I got to spend that time with him.
We come to thank you for your word and your will.
Blood on the leaves.
Also in Toronto, pictures which touch on racial issues. The most high-profile is The Birth of a Nation, which focuses on an 1831 slave uprising. Then there are two films which deal with the pressures placed on interracial couples. Toronto is being described as a festival of inclusion. 7 of its 20 top-tier gala films have been directed by women.
In addition to having almost 30% of the films in our lineup directed by women, we have films from 83 different countries at the festival this year, films from a wide range of perspectives, films that reflect stories coming from indigenous cultures and cultures of African origin and Asian origin and Arab perspectives as well.
Tu crois qu'on va se faire choper?
There will be films of a sensationalistic nature at Toronto, among them Nocturama, which depicts an assorted group of young Parisians planning acts of terror across the city. It was based on a script written 5 years ago, well before the November 2015 attacks. Toronto ostensibly strives to bring excellence in cinema to festival goers, but it's also become a huge marketing machine in that it provides a media-saturated platform for films hoping to be included in next year's Oscars race. Hardly surprising, given that of the last 9 Oscar Best Picture winners, 8 were shown at Toronto.
City of stars, are you shining just for me?
One of the films with the biggest buzz arriving in Toronto is the musical La La Land, which made its world entrance with a rapturous reception at the Venice Film Festival. Venice and the smaller Telluride showcase in Colorado are stealing some of Toronto's limelight, but this North American festival still has plenty of die-hard fans.
We're in a good position because we're, I think, the one festival that can bring the largest public audience together with a very large industry component and a big media core as well. And I don't think anyone